everyone. We are now 2 weeks into spring, and now is the time to get excited about the garden once again. Here at Bamboo Land, we've had a fairly cold winter. There's a lot of cold damaged leaves, old spent flower stems, and the plants generally just need a good tidy up. So gingers and heliconias in particular, this time of year is a time to get in, remove all the old growth, make room for the new shoots to come up, and then after for most heliconias, January, February, March, you start producing the big flowers with the brilliant colours, the reds, the yellows. There's really nothing difficult about looking after your gingers and heliconias. A few minutes of work and you're going to be rewarded for the rest of the season. So let's get in there and we'll take care of it right now. Alright, so here we are in a particularly troublesome part of the gardens. Things are certainly not looking the way we want here. A lot of these heliconias have been neglected now over the whole winter season. So we're going to go through, we're going to cut out some of the older stems, the spent flower heads, and just give them a quick tidy up, getting ready for the new season, make room for the new growth to come up. So really all we need here, pair of secateurs. I happen to have in my back pocket, trusty old bread knife, one of the best tools for cutting the heliconia stems. Either the bread knife, a serrated bread knife like this, or an old blunt pruning saw cuts them really well as well. The bottom of the heliconia stems, they get quite soft and fleshy, a little bit half rotten, so the knife is actually far better than a saw. So we're going to get into this one here, and we'll see what we can do to improve the appearance. So all this old growth here, we've got old stems leaning out, old leaves. You can very clearly see the new growth which came up last year and the old stems that have come up the year before that. So just with a bread knife or, like I said, an old pruning saw, easy to cut through. The serrations on the knife cuts it very easily, even if it's half rotten. So we just go through and pick all the obvious stems like these. There's really no question in this clump what is old and what is new. So we are going here and just taking away all the obvious stems, some of the leaves. And it really, this sort of work, I find, is a real joy in spring. You convert something that looks a horrible mess to something that straight away, within minutes, gives you encouragement and joy to come into the coming season. So it really, I find, very rewarding and somewhat almost relaxing. It's sort of, it declutters. I'd say even goes some way to satisfy the bit of OCD that is in everyone. And I think in tropical gardening you have to be okay with some chaos. The sort of plants, they grow up, they grow into each other, the clumps expand, the gardens evolve. That's the style of tropical gardening. It's not all formal and manicured. You've got to be okay with a bit of the jungle feeling. But of course, we all want the plants to look healthy and happy. So to do that, this sort of work is what you do. Now, all this green waste that we have here, if it's gardens like this, you can almost just put it down on the ground, a little bit of compost or a bit of mulch over the top, and it'll just rot down and add to the soil. But in smaller gardens, that's usually not something you would do. You'd put it on your compost stack, or if you have to, cart it away. But I think it's a shame. All of this green matter, with a little bit of simple composting, will return to earth. You'll use it to build up your garden beds in the coming years. So I think it's good just to compost it rather than carting it all away. But of course that depends on your situation and your abilities, the space. But here, everything that we cut out goes into our compost and it returns back in the gardens as compost in a couple of years' time. So there really is no waste. So we're just going to keep going with this clump here. Alright, so here we are again. I've just finished cleaning up this Heliconia. All the old stems are out. We can now really start appreciating all the new shoots that are coming up here. It's only the second week into spring, so here in southeast Queensland some of the Heliconias are starting to shoot now, but if you were further south you probably wouldn't see these shoots for another month or even two. Clump like this, it might be 2 or 3 handfuls of fertiliser, a good mulching over the top, and with that, that'll prepare it for the new season. So this particular Heliconia, it's one of the bihais. January, February, March, you'll start seeing the big flowers on these, up to 1/2 metre long, brilliant in colour, brilliant in display, and really doing this little bit of preparation now is going to set up for the whole season and make sure that these particular plants are going to be rewarding for the entire season to come. So really this took no more than 5 minutes. We went from something that looks absolutely horrendous and a bit of an eyesore in the garden to instantly being something you can be proud of.